Happy Sabbath, everyone. And today's my sermon title is Imperfect Systems and Extraordinary Results. It sounds like a business presentation, but I'm sorry, didn't mean to be a business presentation. Now, the reason this title is like this is because I was doing this study for myself. We are all called for nominating committee. Committee asked us to do different things. And when they asked me to be youth class teacher, and I was scared, like I don't know anything about teenage psychology. I didn't understand myself when I was a teenager. I mean, how do you understand these teenage kids? And if you do something wrong, it's huge. So I prayed about it. I wanted to read psychology books, and I was talking to people that are child psychologists and all, and then it wasn't going anywhere. I was like, okay, let me do my own study. So the way I did my study is I picked few people in the Bible that are leaders. Some of them are heroes and some of them are zeros. I examined their life, the teams they put up together, and wanted to derive some principles out of them. When you derive a principle, the principle has to be true for every other person in the Bible. If not, it's not a principle. Gravity is gravity wherever you go on the planet Earth, right? It has to be like that. So that means the way you test this principle is go back and then apply this principle, cross-validate it with many other people in the Bible, examine if this principle fits with them. Sometimes they don't, so improve the understanding of your principle, and then eventually come to a perfect understanding. Once you understand the principle, you apply it to your life, right? This is what I wanted to do because I really needed guidance. So the person that somehow I picked is Gideon. Now, who is this Gideon? When we look at the genealogy of Gideon, now Jacob has 12 sons. First 10 of them are from Leah and her servants, and then Joseph and Benjamin are from Rachel. Because Jacob loved Rachel, he obviously loved Joseph. That caused some problem in the family, and the other brothers didn't like him. They tried to kill him, and worse than that, they sold him as a slave. He eventually ended up in Egypt. We know the story. There, he married Egyptian priest's daughter. And through her, he had 2 children. Now, my pronunciation is not proper. Laura helped me a little bit. Manasseh, right? Manasseh and Ephraim. Now, these 2 children, are not supposed to be the tribes of Israel, So, we know the story. Jacob brings his entire family, 70 members, to Egypt, and there they were surviving through the famine. Joseph comes to know that his father is about to die, so he wants to say goodbye. He brings his 2 children. It's like, Father, I want you to bless my children. So this is the firstborn. He pushes him a little bit forward. Manasseh is my firstborn, so bless him. But Jacob was going towards Ephraim, right? Like, no, this guy, this is the firstborn. Like, bless him. He's my strength, whatever, It's like, I know he's your firstborn, but I think your younger child, Ephraim, is going to be much better. He's going to be stronger. He's going to be greater people than your older son. If you're Manasseh standing there, your grandfather is saying something about you, how do you feel? And how does your children feel? How does Ephraim and his children feel? So eventually, all the people in Ephraim think that they are better people than Manasseh, right? And then if you are a tribe of Manasseh, you think that you're not so great. You didn't have greater blessings. You're kind of like, not so well, average. If you look at what happened? Okay, if you look at this map up here, these are the 12 tribes that are situated in these places. Tribe of Levi didn't get the inheritance of land because they're priests, so they would be everywhere. They don't get the land. But Joseph's 2 sons were adopted back by Jacob, so they get 2 lands. Like they get Manasseh here and then Ephraim. Now Manasseh is split into 2, East and then Manasseh, right? From the children of Manasseh, the first child, his son Gilead, was famous. He's a warrior. When they came back to Canaan, they want to occupy the land. He's the one who took charge, who went and drove everybody away from here. So in recognition of that bravery, they gave that whole land to him. So he's the famous guy. Everybody else, not so famous. So Gilead lived here, and then from the second son's offspring, you have Joash, and Joash's last son was Gideon, and they lived somewhere here. My hand is shaking, Now, these are not famous people. Turns out, the family of Joash is the least important family in the whole tribe of Manasseh. And Gideon was the last child. He doesn't get to say anything. Usually the firstborn is the one that, oh, Dad, I don't think this is the right. I'm grown up now. You should listen to me. Younger child, you shut up. You're the youngest. What are you talking, right? That's what usually happens. So he is not a prominent guy. But one interesting thing, though, Joash actually built an altar for god Baal. Wait a second, this is Israel, right? They're supposed to worship Jehovah. How come they're building an altar to this Baal god? Who is this god? Now, this Baal god is a god of storms, agriculture, and fertility. If you look at his hand here, this is like a plant. It has roots at the bottom and then the flower at the top. It got cut here, but he had a lightning in his hand. So he's the one who brings down the rain, and he brings the agricultural plants come up, and he's the one who gives you children to you or to your livestock. People predominantly in those days were either shepherds or farmers. So if they want their sheep to breed more faster, they need this, Baal god, or if they want rain and better crops, this is the god. Now, God said, I'm the one who created the planet. I'm the one who created these signs of precipitation, whatever, rain and all that. Don't worship all those gods. Like, no, you don't understand. These people were worshiping these gods from a long time. So we want to worship them. Now, the way that you worship Baal god, from Wikipedia, I got this, okay? I'm going to tone it down, kosher it really well, and then tell you. So this god is a male god, and Earth is a female god. So the way they do it is like you have to excite this god for him to rain down. So what they do is like they go to the high places, which are like hills, top of the hills. There they erect these altars, and they do these weird things like beating themselves, bleeding, or performing, adult kind of acts with animals and beasts and different kind of stuff. It's like a adult club for God kind of thing. I don't want to go beyond that. And then when he gets excited, he lets himself out, and then the rain falls down, and through that rain, the plants come up. You understand now? Now, I don't know, this is all weird, but public health point of view, if people are doing all sorts of nonsense there, you're going to get this, lots of sexually transmitted diseases. This is not good for country. So God didn't like it. He said, like, don't do this. I was like, oh, no, we got to do this. So what he did is like, okay, I'm going to prove it to you that this God is not the God, I'm the God. So what he does is, he sends these Midianites from Arabian Peninsula down south towards these guys. Now what these Midianites do, they have lots of camels. They come on these camels, they go from one end of Israel to the other end, they camp there, wait until the crops come to the harvest, steal everything from the crops, destroy all the crops that are there, steal every animal like sheep, chicken, eggs, everything, like steal everything and then go away. Now these guys have left nothing, like they have to sell whatever they have, go to other country, buy food for themselves. They were doing this for 7 long years. If you do 7 long years, people are broke. They don't have any money to buy anything anymore. So they were crying like, God, this is awful. What are you doing? So then God was like, okay, this is too much punishment for them. I'm going to do something about it. So this is the context for the Gideon story, right? This is the condition that was happening in the town. Joash, the father of Gideon, is Baal worshiper. He actually built a church for them, like altar for him. It's like pretty big deal, right? Now the angel of the Lord shows up. Let's read here. The angel of the Lord The Gideon was threshing in wine press to hide the wheat from Midianites. Now, in wine press, you press wine. In wheat mill, you thresh wheat. But the reason he's doing the opposite is because in wheat season, everybody knows that you go to the wheat press and then, press wheat. But if you go to the wine press, no one expects you to be there because you don't have grapes. So he's kind of hiding from these Midianites and, doing whatever he had to do with wheat. And the angel of the Lord shows up and says, hey, mighty warrior, the Lord is with you. I sometimes like to visualize stuff like angel shows, mighty warrior, the Lord is with you. This guy turns around, excuse me? It was like a funny play of words here. So Gideon was like, excuse me? Lord is with me, you're saying? So why all these things are happening to you? People a long time ago said, he did this and that, but I guess he left us. He gave us to Midianites, right? Do you understand the picture here? Hello? He was kind of cynical about it. Then, see the next verse here. Then the angel, the Lord turned to Gideon and said, you are strong. Go, save Israel from the power of Midians. I'm sending you. Go, you go. He's trying to see if this guy thinks that he can do what should be done. He's trying to test if this guy is self-reliant, competent enough. Sometimes God wants to see if you're self-confident or God-reliant. So Gideon said, excuse me, do you know who I am? How can I do this? My clan or my family group is the weakest in the entire tribe, and I'm the least person or least important person in my family. So tomorrow I go out to the town and say, hello, excuse me, my family is the least in the tribe, I'm the last in my family, but I'm proposing something, let's all get together and fight these guys. Nobody's gonna listen to me. Do you get this? So what's happening here? This is the first time we came to know something about Gideon. Let's review him. He probably would have been a Baal worshiper. He's very skeptical about God. By his birth, by his tribe, he's very insignificant, and he's distrustful of himself. He's weak and imperfect guy, right? Now, this weak and imperfect guy is having this interaction with angel of the Lord. The next verse, let you see. Then the Lord answered, I will be with you. You will strike down the Midianites. You will leave no one alive. So, yeah. And Gideon says, okay, wait. So you're going to be with me, and then I'm going to go and destroy all these people? You think I'm not smart? Okay, if you are what you are, if you are like the angel of the Lord, then do something, a sign for me. Okay, what do you want me to do? Sit here, I'm going to go home, kill a bull. First of all, listen, Midianites are stealing all the bulls, right? They don't have any bulls. If you have one, you don't want to give it up to a stranger. And then I'm going to make you a bread and bring it back. So he goes there, sacrifices a bull, cooks it, and then cooks a, unleavened bread. I mean, how long does it take? 2 minutes in microwave is impatient. I'm do it. This guy takes maybe 3-4 hours. I don't know, how do you kill a bull? It's just, anyway, he does that. And then kosher, you got to drain all the blood. He does the meal, and then he says, okay, I brought the meal, do something now. It's okay, put it on the rock there. It's he puts it on the rock, and angel has a staff. With the edge of the staff, he touches this food, and then it burns into flames, and the sacrifice was accepted. Now he's freaking out. This is really an angel of the Lord. I saw his face, I'm going to die now. Then the voice of the Lord comes up to him. It's no, don't be scared, I'm with you. Now, I don't know how this voice of the Lord comes up. It's is it like a thought in your mind? Or is it like an announcement that you hear from nowhere? I'm with you. I don't know, it's scary. But he somehow seems to get the voice of the Lord. I never got it. But, I get a thought in my mind, an inspiration, but I never heard God. But it's interesting. He's listening to God. So now, what happened to the equation, right? We have the strong and holy God. He wants to unite himself with the weak and imperfect Gideon. Okay, now what happens? Now, Gideon, that night, God came up to him and then he said something. Now, if you're a good Bible student, really, really good Bible student, if you have given enough Bible studies, you would have serious objection with this verse, these 3 verses. Okay, I want you to think what that is. Okay, I'm going to read this. That same night, the Lord spoke to Gideon. He said, get the second bull, okay? He knows which bull. From your father's head, get the one that is 7 years old. Very specific. Okay, that's scary. Tear down the altar your father built to honor the god named Baal. Cut down the pole beside it. The pole is used to worship the female god named Asherah. Then build the right kind of altar. Built it to honor the Lord your God. Okay? Built it up on top of the hill. Then use the wood from the Asherah pole cut down. Sacrifice the second bull as a burnt offering. Now what Gideon does, I didn't put the whole verse. Gideon took 10 servants. He went at night. He did everything that God told you. Now, okay, I'm testing you. Do you find objection here? No? Now, if you read your Leviticus and Exodus, you know that nobody except Levites are supposed to do burnt offering. How come this guy is doing? Number 2, there is only Shiloh, only one place where you can build an altar. No other place is not allowed. Now, if God comes to me today and tells me this, I'll open my Bible, I'm going to test this dream or this voice that came to me, and then test with all the tests that I have, the 4 tests we have, like, okay, this is not following the scriptures. This is the devil. You see the problem? I know I'm pushing you into uncomfortable territory here, but I don't know the answer. Okay, I don't know. I think he's not a good Bible student. He just went and did what God told him to do. Now, what he did, that night, he went up to the thing, and they were destroying the altar of this god. And then if you see in the corner, they built a new altar for God, and then they're sacrificing this bull. He did everything quietly at night, came back home, he slept. Next morning, his father woke up, where are my 2 bulls? Where are my 2 bulls? Who did that altar thing? And then, he wakes up. Angel showed up, and this is what happened. What? Angel showed up? This is what happened? And he's still processing, and the people of the town woke up and then saw this thing. They figured out who did it. They all came at once to the door of Joash. Like, hey, send your son out. We're going to kill him now. He did this bad thing. Now, this father has 2 choices. He obviously built an altar when everybody is poor and broke for this Baal god. That means he really worships that Baal god, right? And he had to make a choice. Would I give up my son or listen to his story that angel showed up and then he killed 2 bulls? He must be, hungry. He took these bulls and ate and then partied something. I don't know. But he makes a choice. What? You guys are defending Baal? If he's strong enough, he'll fight for himself. You go away. If he's a real God, he'll take care of my son. So they were like, okay, we'll go away. So they named him Jerub-Baal. Let Baal take his stand against him. That's really, proper way of saying it. Really what they mean, Baal is going to get you. Baal is going to get you. Every time they say, Baal is going to get you. So his name forever became Baal is going to get you. Right? Now see what happened. If God had to work with Gideon and deliver people, then when people try to see what happened, oh, he's son of Joash. Joash is the one that built the altar for Baal. It's the Baal that did it. So what God did is, he permanently changed his name to Baal is going to get you. You messed up with Baal, so he's going to get you. So now anything bad happens to him, people say, yeah, we know he's going to do that to you. Because you angered that God. That's why So everybody is expecting something nasty and bad to happen to Gideon, right? Now, at this situation, what happened now is the Midianites, it's the harvest time, they all got together, 2 armies, Midianites and Amalekites, they both got together, they brought enormous amount of army, like camels and everything, and camped in a town nearby called Jezreel. These guys are from Ophrah, okay? Now, the news came, these guys are there, hide everything, dig a hole, and then, protect all your grains and everything. They're going to come destroy everything. People are scared. At this time, God puts in his heart to take an action. A lot of us are at those situations. Sometimes you see something happening in the church, and God puts in your heart, do something. And then I was like, He didn't do that. He know he's the least person, whatever, but he wanted to do something about it. So he goes up to his town people, right? So the people that tried to kill him. I forget this slide. Okay, what is the summary? Now, so far what happened is, God told him to sacrifice and all. The lesson that I got from it is like, do not put God in a box. He's not bound by his rules or your rules. He's God. He can do whatever he wants to do. Sometimes we have to be open-minded. Now, when God gives you, God chooses you, he doesn't give you a big war right away. He gives you something tiny and insignificant. Do it. Whether you do it daytime or nighttime, do it. Second, third, fourth. Every time you do something, your own people are going to oppose you. Be okay with it. I don't know, for some reason God does that. I'm doing it for my church. Well, how come you criticize? No, don't do that. Gideon went through that. Just be okay with it. Don't ignore God's calling. When he puts something in your heart, don't. God knows that you're scared. You're not wise. He's going to take care of you. Now, he calls these countless Midianites and Amalekites. All these people are there. So he goes up to these people, first calls his own town people. These are the people just a few days ago wanted to kill him. Now, what did he do? They started following him. Did he do like a really good speech or something like that? Like speeches like Obama does. You preach and then you start crying like, I want to follow you. I want to give you all my money. Like, what is happening here? Do you think he got charisma or great orator or something like that? What happened? How come these people that wanted to kill him, that named him Baal is going to get you, start following him? Sometimes when we do something in the church, people start following us, then we get, I'm doing a good job. It's my intellectual abilities, theological knowledge. I was thinking about it. Look at this verse, Proverbs 16:7. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Sorry, I got to break it down. It's not you. It's not me. It's God. Sometimes our good, cool friends are not because of our greatness, because God felt mercy on us. So he gives us those relationships. Now, then he calls people from his own state, the neighboring states. Look at here. Bible doesn't say, but he doesn't invite people from Ephraim, right? Why? Those are the better people, right? How come he didn't invite them? Keep thinking about that. Now, he got 32,000 people. This is now, I want you to imagine in your mind, right? You never actually participated in a war. You don't know anything about war. And now you sent a letter to everybody. 32,000 people showed up at your doorstep. Okay, we all are here. We brought our tents, our hammers, our knives. Okay, let's do. What do you want to do? Have you been in that situation? You go up like a hero and call everybody. Everybody shows up and you don't know what to do. So here is the situation. He's scared. How do you know he's scared? We have the famous story, Gideon and his fleece. So he takes this fleece, puts it outside like, God, all people showed up now. I got to do something. You said you're going to deliver people, right? Now, give me a sign. I'm going to put this fleece up here. You make this fleece wet next morning, but the ground around it shouldn't be wet. So next morning he goes up there, takes the fleece up, squeezes it, the bowl is full. Then I was like, wait a second. He's all scientist now. Fleece is more absorbent than soil. So technically, if there is more precipitation, more humidity in the air, it would absorb more. It might be coincidence. Oh, how stupid I am. I should ask a better question. Okay, God, don't be angry with me, right? I'm going to put the same fleece out here. This time, make this fleece dry, everything else around it wet. So this cannot be coincidence. God puts up with him. He does that too with us, right? Sometimes we do that to him. Like, he understands we are scared. So, okay, I'll do it. He does that. So now he gets his confidence back, right? And then he goes up to people and says, okay, let's all get together, go to the hills. Because in the valley in Israel, these people are camping. Let's go there, see what happens. They all go there. They're standing up there. And then they see this number of people. Probably they would have went there and then see how many people are there. Let's count. And then they would come back like, man, you can't even count them. There are too many. Maybe 1 million, 2, I don't know. We're 32,000. There are so many. We're going to die. People are scared. So now Gideon was like, God, we need more people. We need more people. Do something. What do I do? So he goes back to God. And then God comes back to him. Read verse 7. The Lord said to Gideon, I want to hand Midian over to you, but you have too many men. Because then these people will say, Israel might brag, my own strength has saved me. I don't understand the logic of God. He's really funny sometimes. Like, he plays with people. Like, there are too many people. They think that we won the war. Like, 32,000 and maybe 2 or 3 million there? Like, we would not. No. 32,000 is too many. Now tell them, if they are scared, go home. Like sometimes when people are getting together, hey, let's go to Cedar Point, You go there, and then you see the first ride. I'm not going to get onto the Cedar Point. You see, this is how these people are. Like, I go to Cedar Point like a macho man. I was like, oh, this is not for me. These are the guys. Okay, he expected maybe 5,000, 6,000 go home. 22,000 people went home. Now, when 22,000 people are leaving, more than half of them are leaving your camp, you lose your spirit. Think about these 10,000 people. They were like, what's happening here? We're going to definitely die. When there are 32,000 people, you can somehow escape and run away. 10,000, no chance. You're going to die for sure. And then God comes, no, these are still too many people. Now, at this point, if I'm one of these 10,000 people, and Gideon comes up to says, God wants to reduce the number, I was like, are you really listening to God, or are you schizophrenic? What's happening? I think you have something wrong with your mind, right? Let me take you to the hospital. Please listen to me. I was in this situation. Some people come, God spoke to me. Like, oh, okay. Did you take your medication? I'm so sorry that I'm that skeptical. I got to give up to these 10,000 guys. They believed in him. I wouldn't do that. So he says, okay, send them through this river, ask them to take a water. If they, little bit bend down their knees, quickly grab some water, drink, and then walk away, then put them here. I want them. If they kneel down, all the way bend down, with their mouth starts drinking the water, take their own time leisurely, as if nothing is happening, send them home. 9,700 people drank that way. They all went home. Now he's left with 300 people. Think about these poor 300 guys. Now, for sure, we don't even get a minute to die peacefully. We're going to die in the mid-air. They're going to toss us up and then cut us into pieces. 300 people against these millions of people. It's a joke, right? What is it? But before I get into the next point, let's look at the recruitment lessons from God. You're here in the church, you want to build a team. What kind of recruitment do you have to do here? Number one, pick people that are God-reliant, not self-reliant. Ephraimites, if people from Ephraim, they're self-reliant. They know that they're better people. They wouldn't bend down. They wouldn't listen to God. So you don't need those people. Pick people who are God-reliant. Willingness, not compulsion. Don't force people into doing something. If they're willing, they'll do a better job. You pick people that are dedicated, not talented. Sometimes people that are talented, they know that they're so good, they can do the stuff, so they don't prepare well. They don't even show up. You want people that are dedicated because it is God who gives talents to people. It's not the other way. When God gives you talent, what you do with it is something else. But it is God that gives you talent. Am I speaking something foreign? Your children, right? They're 8 and 9. They go up there and then do PowerPoint slide. I got to learn PowerPoint when I was in PhD. I was like, this is so hard. They're 9 and 10 and they change the PowerPoint and then they show this Mario Kart. I do not understand how that Mario Kart works. How did they get the talent from? It is God who gives it to them. Now, you want quality team, not quantity. Numbers doesn't help you. Finally, sacrificial. Why I say sacrificial spirit? Think about these 300 guys. They don't know what's going on in Gideon's mind. But they were there, ready to give up their life. If you are one of those 300 people, I don't know what's happened to Gideon, but man, I'm going to die. It's okay, I'm going to give up my life today. That's exactly what you need for a team? A person who is willing to sacrifice his time. Sometimes you say, I need my, yeah, you're supposed to work hard. You're supposed to take care of your family. You spend enough time with your family. But sometimes we put too much of these priorities before our godly work. So pick those. Now let's go and review what's happening here. You have this humongous army, Midianites and Amalekites, right? These are perfect war machine. For last 7 years, they have perfected their system. They know every valley. It's not the new territory for them. They know all the shortcuts because they've been doing this for the last 7 years. They have all the tools and weapons. And you got this 300 people. Sorry, the font went bad. It's like a joke, right? I don't know, man. If it is not for Bible story, I would never believe this. You got 300 people, and you're going against this perfect war machine. This is the system, imperfect system. Now what happened next? If you're Gideon, you know you're going to die. You know God told you he's going to deliver, but you have your own doubts. Because we are human, man. Don't tell me that I'm not scared. Oh, you're God's child. You're not supposed to get scared. You should have faith. Yeah. You will be more faithful when you're scared, actually. You get enormous faith when you're doubting. You don't know, it's weird. When you're weak, you're the strongest. So Gideon, scared. God knows. So he says, okay, I want you to sneak into their camp and then go and then survey what's happening there. God has a plan, right? So, okay, he takes a guy and then goes into the Midianites' camp at night, quietly next to the tent he's looking through. And then he's standing there. And then he's listening to these two guys that are sat by the fire talking to each other. One guy is explaining the dream that he got. Another guy is interpreting the dream that he got. Right? First guy says hey, I had a dream. A small barley loaf rolled down from the hill, hit my tent, and destroyed my tent. How can that happen? A barley loaf, how can it destroy a tent? The other guy says, I know what that is. It's the Gideon and his army. God gave all of us to him. They're going to come and then cut us. They're going to come and destroy us. Now, you're this Gideon that is shaking there. Listen to these guys. What happens to you? You know something when that happens. Gideon is sitting there. Hey, we already won the war. God already defeated these people. All I have to do is show up and get all the money. Loot everybody. That's all I have to do. Show up. God won the war. So it clicks in his mind. It is not me that is fighting the war. It is God that is fighting the war. So he immediately runs back to the camp, told everyone, okay, I got a plan. I'm going to split into 3 groups. It doesn't matter even if he doesn't split. It doesn't matter because he won the war already. He splits them into 3 groups, 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, gives them a pot. Inside the pot, you put a torch, which is like not the battery-powered torch, because you have on and off switch. The torch is like the fire one. So that's why you have to hide it inside the pot. And then you have a horn, right? You take these things, run, and then when everybody is ready, they break open the pot, put the torch out, and then start blowing the horn. They're tricking them into saying humongous army is coming and attacking you. It could really backfire. It could really, because those Midianites are not fools. They would have had their spies waiting and then checking who is coming, who is doing what. It's not it's just cakewalk. But so happened that everybody got these dreams. Everybody is scared that Gideon is coming. So they all get up in the darkness. They don't know what's happening. They take their knives, kill everybody that is around. So they're killing pretty much their own people. Right? 120,000 people died. Remaining people ran away. Now he sends few people from his 300 to those 9,700 that left, and then the 22,000 that left. It's we won the war. Go and kill everybody. Plunder them. And then someone goes to Ephraim, the cool guys, and it's you come, join the party. So they all come and destroy whatnot. They won the war. Now, it's not over. Sometimes the calmness that comes, or the season of inactivity that comes after the war or a struggle is most dangerous. Now, what happens now is the cool people, the men of Ephraim, right, they come hey, how come you didn't invite us? You know that we are better people than you. We can do better war than you. How come you didn't? We would have killed 300,000. So when you get success in some ministry, you would automatically evoke jealousy in other people. How do you deal with it? Here is the classic example. He put his life for his people, and then all he gets is criticism. How come you didn't invite me to the party? Like, what if the war, they lose the war? Would you say the same thing? No, you wouldn't say the same thing. So what he does, is not the gleaning of grapes of Ephraim better than the winter? He's poetry, whatever. And he says, and what was I able to do in comparison? You guys did the great thing. You killed 2 kings. I did nothing. I just blowing horn. You won. With humility, you won them over. So with love and humility, if someone is jealous against you, win them over. Next, the other thing, right? All the people of Israel come to him and is like, okay, rule over us. You, your son, your grandchildren. They didn't get the point. It is God who won the war. They didn't get the point. Sometimes when you get success, people want to elevate you. Don't fall for the trap. Say, direct them to Lord. The Lord shall rule over you. I will not rule. My son doesn't rule. My grandchildren doesn't do that. Now, let's review this. It is your duty to participate. Had not Gideon participated in this war, he would have never won the war. But when you participate, don't expect that you're always going to get success because of your strength. It is God who gives you strength, success. Sometimes God says, I don't want you. I don't want you to go away from my team. It's so hard when that happens to you because you have pure intentions. You're one of those 10,000 people. God said, I don't want you. Don't take it personal. Just walk away. Let it go. Now, sometimes your success evokes jealousy. Win them over with humility. People want to elevate you. Don't fall for it. Direct their eyes towards the Lord. Sometimes the season of inactivity after great struggle is dangerous. So when you're in that season of inactivity, when you're warming the pew, pray that God gives you a new opportunity, a new challenge. Now, let's look at the formula that we have. When you have a strong and holy God unites with weak and imperfect Gideon, we got extraordinary results. During the process, Gideon's character was sanctified, the name of the God was sanctified, great things happen. Now, we got to cross-validate this. I got 5 minutes more, right? How do you cross-validate? You look at the different examples. I put few here. You go home and then study more. Jericho wall, Joshua. All they did is walk around the wall and then blow horns. Wall fell down. How did it? Is it like some kind of acoustics and then a sound wave thing? No, you can't explain that with science. Goliath and David, teenager and like a humongous guy. Moabites and Jehoshaphat, Assyrians and Hezekiah. Nebuchadnezzar, the tyrant, and then the 3 captives. Okay, man, these are all war stories. I want something not so war because I'm doing ministry here. Oh, what about Peter? He denied Jesus 3 times. Jesus comes up to him like, hey, are you going to follow me, Peter? I was like, yeah, I'm going to follow you. He just denied Jesus, right? He asked second, are you going to follow me? Yeah, I'm going to follow you. It's like 3rd time he asked, are you sure you're going to follow me? He breaks down. You know I'm going to deny you. You know I'm lying when I said this. You know I'm so weak. What else do you want me to do? And then Jesus says, upon this rock I built my church. That means he's going to take weak and imperfect people like you, Peter, and I'm going to build my church. Wow, man. Then, what about Paul? When he was so learned and intellectual, he went against God. You went through 2 PhDs studying theology, and then one day you come to know out, you came to know out like you were actually fighting God. You did 2 PhDs in theology, right? And then now you're fighting God, the very own God. You spent 10 years studying PhD. Like that, it's crazy. What do you do when you're in that situation? God says, you're fighting me. You wrote thesis on me, and you're fighting me. That's the worst point you could ever be in your life. And that's when he became the greatest evangelist. Now, these are all medieval people 2,000 years ago. What about this woman with the 5th grade education? He was barely healthy. Like she was always sick. Do you know who that is? She wrote most books than any other woman in America. Ellen White, she founded our church. What about her? Do you think she wrote all? I mean, I wrote thesis, right? Like how many corrections I went through. She wrote tons and tons of books. How do you write that? It's an art. Look here. Strong and holy God unites with weak and imperfect people. You get extraordinary results. Don't ever forget that. Now, here you're in the church, right? Like, look at this Ellen White quote. The most complete system that men have ever devised, apart from the power and wisdom of God, will prove a failure. Example in the Bible. Everybody in the world got together, wanted to build Tower of Babel. It was so great, God had to actually come down to see it and then destroy it. Apart from wisdom of God, whatever you built, it's not going to work. While the most unpromising methods, like blowing horns, 300 people against million, these will succeed when divinely appointed and entered upon with humility. Trust God and obedience to His will are essential to Christian in the spiritual warfare as Gideon and Joshua. We're not fighting Canaanites. We're fighting our own selfishness. We're fighting our own laziness. We're fighting our own evil things in the society. We're not fighting Canaanites. We're not killing people. We don't want to kill people. So apply this into your own life. How do you do this? Let's get to the application. Now, when strong and holy God unites with weak and imperfect Oakwood, sorry, I thought myself when I said imperfect, but I'm weak and imperfect. I'm part of Oakwood Church. But if God unites with weak and imperfect Oakwood, what happens? Do you expect extraordinary results? I mean, I'm not talking about killing like 120,000 people. I'm talking about bringing change in one person's life, guiding a little bit of one teenager's life, right? Giving comfort to someone that is struggling. You can't really help somebody that is struggling, but you can be there with them, cry with them. What happens? We have to allow God to sanctify ourselves. We have to allow God to sanctify His name among us. You know, God's name is really, like when you say I'm a Christian, people think that you are one of those people that go on TV and talk bad about everybody else. That's what God's name is. We have to take up and then sanctify God's name. Now, let me ask you this question, right? In your church community, did you notice anything? Angel didn't show up to you. You're not Gideon, right? Angel didn't show up to you. But have you noticed somebody sitting right next to you that is crying so hard when the prayer is happening? You wonder, why? Why is this person crying so hard? What's happening with them? Have you ever noticed it? Have you seen a teenage kid sitting on the steps up there, not coming into the church, or sitting in the car up there, out there? Did you notice it? What did you do? It's not up to me, it's up to their parents. Like, these laws in the United States, you're not supposed to interfere in somebody else. It's not my job, whatever. Or you could say, hey man, I really want to help you, but sorry, I'm weak. I don't have wisdom. I don't have knowledge. It's not my tool set. I don't have the skills to do this job. Well, look at this quote. It is not the capabilities you now possess or will ever have will give you success. We saw it in Gideon. It's not what you do, what you have that gives you success. It is that which Lord can do for you. We need to have far less confidence in what man can do and far more confidence in what can do for you. You can read the rest of the quote when you go home. You know this famous quote from Christ Objects Lessons here. I love this. Let's see here. Put your talents into work. Ask God for wisdom. He'll give it to you. Now you would ask like, hey, why I have to do that? I want to sit at home, read my devotion, come to church, go to GC, GYC, retreat, women's retreat, men's retreat, marriage retreat. That's it. I read my part. I don't have to put up with these people. I don't have to give them car rides. I don't have to, counsel them when they're going through a rough marriage. I don't have to, figure out if this person is going through something wrong. I don't have to do all that stuff. I don't need it. I can just sit at my home, read my Bible, my really gold, whatever this thing on the side, the gold-colored one Bible. I can read my Bible, a really nice one, leather-bound. I can do that. I can be pious without getting involved in the church. Well, look at this parable from Matthew 25, 31 to 46. Here is Jesus. He got two groups of people on right hand, left hand. To one says, you fed me, you clothed me, you took care of me, you visited me in prison. I was like, we never did it to you. No, when you do to the least of these brethren, you have done it unto me. That's me. So come into my kingdom. The other guys, We went to evangelistic C, we went to GC, we went to GYC, we went to campus retreat, we went to this retreat, we did prophecy seminars. I don't know who you are. Imagine that. Personal piety doesn't stand in the eyes of God. You know the Pharisee and the publican? He says, look, I'm not like this guy. I pray, I give tithe and everything. I know you're pious. Hello, I know, but I don't want it. I want servitude. I want you to share this grace that I have given you with other people. That's when you're my child. That's when I know who you are. During that process, I'll sanctify you. I'll chisel you a little bit. I know it's painful to go put up with these people, but during the time, I'll teach you patience. I'll teach you love. I'll teach you many things. You don't have to go to Harvard Business School to learn these things. I'll teach you right here in the church. How do you put up with people that are not interested and then teach a lesson to them? That's what they learn in the university, masters in education. Hey, free here. Now, I'm not talking to you actually. This is what, when I was asked to do the youth Sabbath school, it's a lot of work. I can simply go to Dr. Weaver's class, sit there, listen to it. But why do you have to come here to the youth class and put up with these teenagers? I went home and I thought about it. God is calling me to humble myself. He's asking me, put yourself down. I know you're weak. Don't be self-reliant. Let me do something in your life. You think that I'm going to help them? Actually, God is helping me. Those kids are helping me. Every ministry you go through, it's a growth process. This is how God sanctifies us. Maybe you might disagree. There might be a better method. I don't know. I'm happy to agree with you. But hey, this is something that is obvious right in front of your eyes. Look at your nominating committee. So many holes. We don't have health ministry leader. We don't have hospitality ministry leader. We don't have head elder. We don't have head deacon. In a way, it is embarrassing, but it is a great opportunity if you look at it. If I am on the nominating committee, I would never pick you. Yeah, head elder should be extrovert, strong, leader, tall, and work for Ford company. No. Sorry, Joe. Shouldn't go to GM at all. But this guy is an introvert. He barely talks. He sits somewhere in the corner there. I'm not going to pick this guy. Maybe you're the right candidate. I don't know better. God actually cleared the way for you. Hello? Now take up. No one is asking you. People don't give you opportunity. Stand up. Take it up. Hey, you got the opportunity. Well, you know me. When I came into this church, I was like 30 pounds smaller than what I am right now. I'm struggling with weight issues. Be the health leader. Start a 5K or a half marathon. Please, I'll join you. Do something about me, right? What if something happens to you? Don't you expect someone else help you as a community? This is called for you. Hey, I don't have wisdom. Don't tell me now. It is God that gives you. Oh, I'm not strong enough. Oh, Gideon is not. You have no excuses. You have no excuses. You can warm that pew as long as you want. It's going to stay the same. Please. This is the calling from God. This is how you grow. Now, I want Charlotte to sing Seeking the Lost hymn. When she's singing that hymn, you don't have to come up here and stand up and then show. I'm an introvert. I don't like coming up here in the camera and all. Sit in your pew. Contemplate in your heart. Hey, do I want to do this? Do you want to put up with this uncomfortable feeling? Waking up and then going to the church and spending all my gas money giving rides to the people? I'm already broke. Think about it. God said to Peter, if you lose your child for my sake, you're going to get them in heaven. Sometimes my kids need my time. Yeah, they do need their time. I'm not saying you shouldn't give their time. You should keep your kids in priority. But hey, God knows. Right? Think about this, and I'm sorry. Sometimes I get excited and say different things, but if I offend you, so sorry, I didn't mean to. Okay?